Hey, everybody, welcome back to Morning Talk with Mike. I'm Big Mike, and that right there is Sir Paul Honeyman from England, my
I was
co.
not.
Hey, if you'd like to come up on panel and talk this morning with us, the link is at the top. Please click that link, go in there, make sure I can see your face down in the green room, and I will bring you up and we will get this thing started. Now, hey, if you've seen the thumbnail, this is the weekend update. Every Monday we do this. And for some reason, this one is acting stupid. I have no idea why that. I got to get rid of this Dell computer. It is just tore up from the floor up. But we're going to talk about a few things today that was going on in the news. One of them is I didn't even know that you taxpayers were funding some of this stuff. But good news, savings is on the way, and I did not get rid of that. I did now, so we're good to go there. Let me get rid of that channel, and now I got my notes up. Guys, first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming in. I think we got 13 people in here. I did see Joe Fix It For You is in here. I see Tamara and David over at Heartland Headquarters. I see Miss Arlene. Let's see. Liberty Layers Hideout. Bodie's in here. Welcome in, brother. Let's see. Rebecca Touched by Yarn is here.
Eric and Tina,
Eric and Tina
Jamie and Kevin's just come in.
from Rainy Ridge. Welcome,
And they're all-
you guys. Linda Peterson's here.
Debbie Duck.
Debbie Drock's here. Yeah. And O'Rourke's Littlefield.
Yep.
I was kind of butthurt. Okay. I was kind of butthurt that
What did Terry do?
my brother from a different mother over at Come On Homesteading had a birthday party, and people from Oklahoma were not invited. Okay. I'm kind of butthurt about it. Second of all, we didn't get to meet the new girlfriend. Okay. Didn't get to see the new girlfriend. I didn't get to get my hugs in with O'Rourke's Littlefield, with Jamie. That's always a treat for me to see her. I'm going to tell you, she's like Abraham Lincoln. She is honest to a fault. She'll tell you the truth. So yeah, I'm kind of butthurt, and I want everybody to tell David I'm butthurt. Okay? Because I would have made that 3.5-hour trip for his birthday. But nobody in Oklahoma was invited. And that's just wrong. Okay? I got that off my chest this morning. Okay? There is Jennifer Ocean Homestead's in here. Want to welcome her in. Vlogging with Vinco. Welcome in.
Out and about with Dave and Doozy.
All right. Welcome in, brother. Trying to quickly say hi to everyone before someone comes in and makes me work. There you go. There, you got to hide that chat real quick. I got it. Oh, man. So Terry and I have to go back up to um, Broken Arrow tomorrow. Tomorrow, I'm having a procedure done on my spine. And this procedure entails that we have to go and pick up some medication I got to take before I do this procedure. I got to take a Xanax of some sort or whatever to calm my nerves and stuff because this thing is where they lay you on a table and they take these needles and they stick them into your back. They're a big, heavy gauge needle, and they take it down, and there's a camera that goes inside the needle, and they search for the nerve ending on the sides of your spine. Once they got the needle in place, they pull the camera, they put a rod down the needle shaft, and then they burn the nerve endings on your spine. And I've got 6 discs that they have to do. So I got to do that because it takes me a while. I got to stand up, get my back straight, and the pain is just, and I'm tired of taking medication, pain medication. I don't feel right when I take it. I'm grumpy when I forget it. And Terry goes, "Hey, you haven't taken your pain medication. You need to take it." So that's what we're doing tomorrow. So wish me luck on that. So anyway, that's tomorrow. And then this weekend, we're going camping at Sardis Lake at the Corps of Army Engineer campsite. We're going to spend Friday, Saturday, and come back on Sunday, taking the dogs with us. We already scouted out the area. It's a beautiful lake. We fished that lake before. So we're going up there, take the trailer out on the maiden voyage. We would have taken the travel trailer to Arkansas if we were invited to David's birthday party. But we weren't, because I guess we live in Oklahoma. All right. And people are against Oklahomians because we're a red state, I guess. But anyway,
did you not see the video? Did you not see the video where David said he was trying to keep it small this year?
Yeah, it wasn't small.
It was small compared to what you normally do.
Yeah, that's why I take the pill beforehand. Yeah, you're right, Linda. I had a horrible experience with the burn and have suffered for years. Yeah. I'm sorry. I don't know what I did there. I had the wrong mountain mice, the wrong mouse in hand. So, yeah, I'm kind of nervous. That's probably why I got to take the pill. They don't want you to, and I'll probably pass out because any kind of medicine I take, I just pass out. But they're saying that it just stops the anxiety. They don't want you jumping around and stuff while they're sticking needles into the sides of your spine.
Yeah,
the good thing is nerve endings grow back. So you got to have this procedure every 6 to 8 months. So we'll see. I'll see how I get through all this, whether we're going to do a second round or not.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure. I mean, I've had them stick needles into my knees, work it in there to get the cortisone shots into your kneecaps and all that stuff. I've had that done. I've had them do that to my hips. It's not pleasant, but We'll see what happens. I just need to get off all this pain medication because it is just like rotting my gut out and stuff. And I'm tired of it. So we'll see what happens.
I've been tired for the last 15 years.
Yeah. VA's paying for it, so we'll see what happens. So it is what it is. So anyway, let's get on to the subjects at hand. So Congress rolls back $9 billion with a B in public media funding and foreign aid. The House has approved a Trump administration plan to rescind $9 billion in previously allocated funds, including $1.1 billion for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a move that cuts all federal support for NPR, PBS, and their member stations, and about $7 billion in foreign aid. Remember, money going to countries that don't like us and paying for their public broadcasting and stuff like that. In a vote of 216 to 213, included all Republicans in favor of the cuts, but two. There was two renegade Republicans that did not vote for it. The bill goes next to President Trump's desk for signature. Immediately after the vote, NPR CEO Karen Mayer issued a statement calling the cuts irreversible loss to public radio systems. She said the effects would be an unwarranted dismantling of beloved local civic institutions. This act by Congress. Now, here's what I found out. Okay, your taxpayer dollars pays for all this stuff. Okay, Sesame Street and all this stuff.
Wait.
I don't need no comments from the peanut gallery this morning.
They always saying and paid for by viewers like you.
Yeah. Yeah, viewers like you, because your tax dollars is going for
That,
it.
and they get donations.
And they get donations. So here's what I found out. I got on my phone and I said, hey, I can't say it because she'll pop up on my phone. How much do the CEOs of these public broadcasting systems make a year? And here's what I found out. The CEO for PBS earns $842,963 per year. I wonder who's paying for that. Donations and taxpayers? The CEO for the Corporation for Public Broadcasting makes $644,000 plus bonuses each year. The CEO for National Public Radio earns $416,000 per year plus bonuses. Now, here's the killer part. While you're out there working your butts off to pay your taxes, there is no talk show host on any of these systems, okay, or executive that makes less than $200,000 a year. Paid for by you, the person that's bagging groceries, by you, the guy who's paving roads, by you who's building homes, by you who are digging ditches, by you who are collecting Social Security. Okay, your taxes goes to pay for these people to have really cush jobs. Okay, now, how many radio stations are there that don't get funding? Okay, that means they have to have a budget. They have to stick by it. They have to hire. They have to fire. in order to stay within their budgets. And they've got people out there beating the streets to get sponsorship for their radio station. So you can run ads and all kinds of stuff. But if you're in public broadcasting, you just go in there and get a big old fat check. There's one on NPR. There's a guy who does the morning show. Okay. And I can't remember his name, but he makes $540,000 a year to sit on the radio for 3 hours and talk. I need that job. Okay. I know I can talk for 3 hours. Okay. And he's probably got a staff doing all the research and all that stuff and putting his notes and putting it on the screen, all this stuff. And all he's got to do is read the prompter. Okay.
You get a gig like that and I'm not coming on for free.
That's right. So if you want to donate to pay Paul for being on this platform, please send it to me and I'll give him his fair share.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Charlie. Karen Brest is here.
Jamie's had a crush on just about every guy that wore pants.
Really?
Yeah, she says she had a crush on the guy from Electric Avenue on PBS.
Hey, there's Roberta's Artistic Adventure. Welcome in, Roberta. Hey, and if you didn't notice down there on the ticker thing, August 10th will be the first day you can reserve your spot at Pinecone Fest down in Mount Vernon, Texas. Okay. It's going to be October 10th through the 13th. So make your reservations if you want a lakeside or a shoreside RV parking spot or anything like that. Because I know on the 10th, we're going to be on there and we're going to reserve our spot so we get the one we want. And I'm sure Jesse's going to be on there because it's such a beautiful lake to go and then have a weekend with all the YouTubers, subscribers, creators, and all that stuff. So, but no actor top Captain Kirk. Yeah. But I don't, it's one thing. It's kind of like a baseball player. Is a baseball player worth a 10-year contract, $349 million? I don't know. That's up to the owner of the team. Is a soccer player worth millions of dollars? That's up to the owners of the team, how much they're going to go into contract to get a guy. Are you putting butts in seats? Why isn't the WNBA making the same as the NBA players? Because the NBA puts butts in seats. They can charge a higher price. People are going to do it, and you got to know your market. But anyway, I just put that out there for that. Hey, Rebecca, good to see you. Bud Files are here. Welcome.
Don't get me started on football, on bloody sports personnel. They're all overpaid pussies.
I've been really enjoying the Euro Cup, the Women's Euro Cup. Germany beat France yesterday. They're the first ones in the finals. And they went to 8 rounds of penalty kicks to decide the winner of that game. I thought the French were a lot better on the field. They had 2 goals counted back for offsides, and one, the offsides was as thick as this coffee cup right here, and they called it back. What happened to the good old days when they didn't have cameras to do that, right? A lot of people won that shouldn't have won, I guess, because the human eye and a camera, they have cameras everywhere on a soccer field. Hey, Jolly Huggers are here. Welcome in. And there's Lucy Warren's World. Welcome in, Lucy. Good to see you. Um,
No, they do not, Jamie.
really?
Men and boys over here have to participate like every other male
Oh, in their biological
in their
sport.
biological sports
Yeah.
groups.
I mean, in the States, it is a big, hot topic. You know,
It
um,
shouldn't be. It's so simple.
well, you know, it's simple. I
Here,
guess
Thomas.
it's simple for um, some people, but
No,
I
it's simple
no,
for
no,
everyone.
let me just say this. It's not so simple for people that it's banning from. I want to say this correctly. That are banning people from the gender that they identify with. And I understand both sides. I got that. You know, we had this big thing back in the 80s when everybody, or the 70s, when everybody was in the closet and they came out. And I was in the military when Clinton did the don't ask, don't tell policy for people in the military and stuff like that. And everybody was up in arms. You're going to be in a foxhole, and this guy who's, you know, whatever is going to do something. I was never worried about that because here's my thing.
You're big enough not to be.
Here's my thing, right? You know, Bible thumpers, they'll quote scripture and all that kind of stuff. You know, it is not my place on this earth to judge anybody. Okay, number one, it's not my place. Okay, we have, and for me, we have heaven and our Father in heaven that is authorized to judge anybody. He is the creator. That's his job. Your job is not to judge anybody.
No, it's just to make it
We
convenient
are
for him to
all,
judge.
if you're a Christian, I'm not really up on the Muslim, the Hindu, all that stuff, religion. But if you're a Christian, and you, like I am, we are all brothers and sisters. We came from a beginning. No matter what our skin color is, no matter what we feel inside, we are all brothers and sisters. We started by the apple tree. Okay? I'll just say that. That's just me. I don't judge anybody because I don't have a position on this earth. God didn't come down and say, Mike, you are authorized to judge in my stead. And until somebody is told that, if you're judging people, you're probably wrong. Now, you may have feelings one way or another. Okay. You may be a parent that wants to protect your daughter because you don't want your daughter to be hurt by a biological male. However, you may be a parent of a child that fits this category and wants to play sports, but inside they identify as a woman or a woman as a man. We don't see a whole lot of women that identify as men playing in men's sports. Okay. I mean, you do have women like kickers and whatever that play men's sports and that are really, really good. Okay. But my point is, don't judge lest ye be judged. That's all I got to say. How the court systems work this thing out, how our politicians work all this stuff out, that's up to them. The burden is on them, but you do have a right to voice your opinion. And you know, I don't want my granddaughters to be hurt in a sport. Okay. But if I did have a grandson that fell into that category, I would support them, okay, because they are my flesh and blood. and I'll just leave it at that. But in Britain, they have a law, right, that you have to play in the sport of your
Of your gender.
biological makeup,
Yes.
either XXXY, whatever it is. Okay. So, but anyway, totally off the subject, like we always do on the morning show here. So yeah, those CEOs, all these people are making so much money off you taxpayers that you should be, hey, golf clap, they're stopping the funding. Okay. Go out there, beat the streets, raise your money. I remember PBS used to come on and do their marathon telethon and try to raise money and stuff like that. But if you don't make enough money, you can't have that many employees. You can only offer this. Okay. And if you have to cut your services because you really want to stay open and you really want these gigantic paychecks. Now, what if those people, the CEO is making $150,000 a year? I'm sure they can find a CEO to do that because they had to downsize PBS or whatever, because people cost money. Labor is expensive. And you know, I'm thrilled with any cutbacks to the government paying out my tax dollars for something. Now you can look at PBS, all right, 212 million people watch PBS at one point. You know, I read their makeup, and they were saying, okay, they watch PBS on the TV. There's only 34 million people watch returning customers on PBS. And then they said, but their presence on YouTube, they make, 287,000 subscribers. So they're making money off YouTube and all these other things, TikTok, all this kind of stuff for PBS and things like that. And they make money off that. But that's kind of skewing the numbers. Okay. Now you decided to put a platform up on YouTube. You got 287,000, whatever, or so many million people or whatever. That is your choice. But I don't think taxpayers should be on the hook for it, because I think there's enough radio stations out there. I think there's enough TV stations out there. You can just go on. We got Apple TV, and you got Netflix. You got, all kinds of, there's Disney, there's all these things, all these channels. They're not getting funding. They're paying for it somehow. So maybe public radio needs to figure that out, or they just need to go away, because there's enough people out there spewing news that you just don't need NPR and stuff like that. So, yeah, and I was looking at some of them. There was one VP, she from 2017 to 2020, she made something like $2.7 million, and she was the VP of products. I was going, man, that's a lot of freaking money for somebody to bring products and stuff like that. So anyway, so that's public broadcasting. President will sign it this week, and the funding will end for that train right there going out of Washington, D.C. Hey, Christy Betts, welcome in. There's Teresa Jukowitz. Welcome in. Rhonda Dotson's here. I think that's it. We're caught up. All right. Welcome in, guys. We got 26 people in here. Make sure you hit that thumbs up for me, guys.
I just opened YouTube up so I could do it.
So here's something. You're a sports fan. You got your two windows open, don't you?
Give me 2 seconds and I'll close it again.
Okay. Trump threatens to derail Washington Commanders, a new stadium deal over team name.
There we go. It's cut.
All right. President Trump is threatening to derail a plan to build a new stadium in Washington, D.C. for the Washington Commander football team, unless they change their team name back to the Washington Redskins. Okay. And he can do this. He can do environmental things. He can do all kinds of crap. The Washington Redskins, whatever should immediately change. They call them the Washington whatevers. Should immediately change their name back to the Washington Redskins football team. Trump wrote in a Truth Social account. There is big clamor for this. The football team dropped the longtime name in 2020. Ooh, what happened in 2020?
Cheating bastard stole the election.
In 2020, we elected in a radical, in my mind, a radical DEI administration after many years of criticism that it was racist towards indigenous people.
Under whose presidency?
Yeah, I just said that, Biden's.
Yeah.
Okay. Trump also called for the Cleveland Guardians baseball team to change their name back to the Cleveland Indians. That name change was announced in 2021. Again, another DEI thing. The Washington Post, okay? I call it the Washington Compost, but the Washington Post polled Native Americans, and the poll found that 9 out of 10 Native Americans are not offended by the Redskins name for the football team, but they said it celebrated indigenous people because the logo that was used was the logo of a famous chieftain and stuff like that. So they're not offended by it. If 9 out of 10 in this poll of 100,000 indigenous people said, hey, I'm not offended by it. I think it's great. Or I have no thoughts left or right of it. It doesn't bother me. But the people that it bothers are people that look like me.
Yeah. It bothers me because that's what they did to me and all.
Yeah. That's who it bothers. It doesn't bother indigenous people that they have the names in it. Guess what? Kansas City Chiefs, they ain't changing their name. Okay. The Hunt family is not going to be pressured into doing it. They didn't. Okay. So why, if indigenous people are not offended by it, why should you? Again, the whole DEI stuff that was going on, and it was backed by the White House at the time, starting in 2020. Coincidence? I don't know.
But do you know why the indigenous people have got nothing to say about it? Because the white folk haven't told them what to think yet.
Yeah. Hey, Piggy Piddles. Welcome in. And there's Nanny Tam. All right. Thunderstick Homestead's in here. Hello, Bowen. I'm not indigenous. I am a white dude that comes from Ireland, Germany, England, and the Scandinavian countries. Now, I did do my 23andMe, okay, and I found out that I have a 0.7% of me is Congolese. And I told Terry, what the hell is Congolese? She goes, the
African.
Congo, African? I said, I didn't see that in my genealogy. So we said, hey, let's go back. And we chose the wrong sister in Louisiana. And we chose her because she was white. And the other one, her sister, I'm guessing her dad had relations with a slave and had her sister, and it said she was light dark complected, and we didn't choose her because my white mentality said not to choose her. But in choosing her, it made sense. Okay, it made sense because when I went to him, okay, and then I went generations down, there were also, I guess the color is called mulatto or whatever. I'm not sure. I think that's what it is. There were other ancestors that were
having fun with the indigenous
by slave owners. And then all of a sudden we get to the guy, and it said on his paperwork that they recovered from this plantation in Mississippi that this guy who was giving a last name of Washington had a birth number. And I said, man, what is this birth number? I don't understand this birth number thing. Did they give slaves a number when they were born?
Yep.
What happened was we got a hold of the Mormons. The Mormons in Salt Lake City have the largest genealogy database in the world. Okay? And the answer that we got was the birth number on the ship that brought him to the Americas. Okay, so when they got off, they had a number on their chains or whatever, and it corresponded with the accountability, bringing the slaves off the ship and stuff like that. But what people don't know is that when the London Trading Company and the Amsterdam or whatever, the Netherlands Shipping Company, whatever they were called, would go over to Africa, the Africans would round up people from other tribes and sell them, their own people, to these slave traders, okay, or the transportation company that took these people from Africa to the Dominican Republic, to Puerto Rico, and trained them or domesticated them, as they say, before they brought them into the Americas, because they found out that when you take somebody that's living in Africa and they don't want to be there, and they had all kinds of problems, so they took them to these places, worked them in the sugarcane fields, and basically trained them to be subservient to their overlords, if you will, and then they would sell them in the Americas for profit, and that was his birth number. And then it ended on that side of the family. It just stopped.
Was it just the one number or two numbers?
No, it was like a 6-digit number or something like that.
Yeah, but did it have a slash in it?
Yes.
Right. Because if I remember right, the first part of that number was his birth number. The second part was the voyage he took, the ship's log.
And so
Some people only had a 3-digit number, and that's because they were born on the ship.
Right. So I'm going, wow, that thought never hit me. But when you do a DNA test, DNA don't lie. Okay. And one thing that you will find out if you do a 23andMe or an Ancestry DNA or whatever, that they can trace your DNA to one of two starting points, and the starting points of life itself. You're either on the patriarch side or the matriarch side for your DNA. And that all that stuff was very interesting. And some things change as more people do DNA and they collect more and more information on these databases. So kind of interesting about that. Hey, Filipino Raquel's in here. Hello,
She's
my
been here 5 minutes.
Oh, actually, I just seen it. I've been talking for 5 minutes. Yeah, we're all mixed. Okay. We're all mixed. We're all a bunch of hodgepodge something.
I know for a fact I've got black in me from another side.
Yeah. And you don't, I mean, to sit there and say, I mean, I'm sure there's people that are pure. Now, I will tell you, when you're in Korea, 23andMe and Ancestry.com DNA tests are banned. You can't take them. They won't even allow you to ship or do business in that country. They don't want people to find out, because it is a big thing, because Japan fought Korea for many, many years. I mean, it could be, I don't know how long, but there is a thing between Koreans and Japanese. Don't like each other. And people were finding out, oh, I'm Korean. I'm Korean. But then they did a DNA test and they found out that their ancestors, they're just as much Japanese as they are Koreans. And people were actually committing suicide. The country banned DNA testing. Okay. So, I mean, the Japanese went over there and created concubines, all kinds of stuff in Korea. We learned all that while we were in Korea doing, history checks and studying the Korean culture and stuff like that. So, but it's kind of funny that the rice in China, I mean, the rice in Korea that they grow there, the majority of it gets shipped to Japan. And then they import rice from Japan into Korea. And it's mind-boggling. Feed your own first. And then if you need a little bit more, then you can go outside. But they do a lot of things. But yeah, the football team, guys, are you for or against them renaming the Washington Commanders back to the Washington Redskins, which they have? That was their name from the beginning until 2020.
Of course, you do know why Biden did change their names, don't you? He didn't like the Cowboys. He didn't like the Cowboys getting beat.
Oh man, yeah. Cowboys, I'm gonna tell you something. They need to drop that thing, America's team, because they're not America's team.
Oh, we all know Biden was a white job.
But Nugget Homestead's in here. Welcome in, guys. What Nanny Tam says, my DNA says. I mean, I'm fascinated when these actors and politicians actually do their DNA test and come to find out where they actually come from. It's always exciting. Linda says she's Norway, German, and Holland with Jewish blood in me. Yeah. Um, what did Christy say? I got to go back up. Yeah, it is. Yeah, and you know what? And a lot of people don't want to know. You know, but here's the thing: on 23andMe, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. I found a first cousin, didn't know they were first and second cousins. That Her name is Kathleen. She is a subscriber to our channel. She's my cousin, and she lives down in Texas. She is the general manager of J.C. Penney's, and I mean, a lot of chatting with her when we found all this out, and it's amazing how many people you're actually related to. You know, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh cousins, and mine has like, oh my God, like it's something like 3,900 people on 23andMe. I am somewhere related to them. So wow, it's amazing. So yeah, if you want to find out who you are, all you got to do is spit in a tube and send it off.
I'd rather spit in somebody's face.
Trying to see. Hey, Troy Sutton's in here. Welcome in, Troy. How you doing, brother?
And that's not bad. He's only been in for 2 minutes.
Thank you for coming in, Piggies. Yeah, see, I mean, like Cameron said, we don't do those tests. And I mean, I was just wondering because I come from a very crazy family.
Really?
Yeah. I was home on leave, and we went over to my sister Debbie's house, and all my sisters went upstairs to the master bedroom upstairs, and I'm downstairs, and I'm going, what the heck? Where's everybody? Where'd they all go to? And then all of a sudden, my sister Debbie comes down and says, "Hey, we need to talk to you." And I said, "Really?" So I go upstairs, and all my sisters and my mom's sitting on the bed crying her eyes out. I'm saying, "Whoa, what's going on?" "We got something to tell you." And I said, "Well, what?" And she goes, did you ever wonder why none of us look the same? I said, "Because y'all are girls and I'm a guy." And she goes, "Well, yeah, but you remember those things when you used to get in fights because people used to say, you know, who's the mailman, or who's the milkman, or you know, whatever." And I go, "Yeah, I remember that." And people made fun and stuff like that. And I go, "Yeah, but what does that got to do with anything?" Well, here's the thing. That's when they broke it to me that there's me and I have 6 sisters. Love them all to death. Love them to my dying day.
You're lucky.
She goes, "There's 7 of us, but there's 5 fathers." I'm going, "Whoa, what?" And so each one of my sisters they did the research. My sister paid for a private investigator. They found all the dads, all this stuff. And this is a year. There were guys out there there was one that him and my mom dated for a little bit, and they had one of my sisters and him and his wife at the time couldn't have kids. And all of a sudden he finds out he's got all these grandchildren now. He finds out he has a daughter because my mom never told them, any of the men. And they all found out. They're like, thank God it was a blessing for them. That, hey, we can't have children together, but I've got grandchildren. So yeah. And so when you look on 23andMe and my sisters that take it, it doesn't say that we're a perfect match. But, like my one sister, I think we're like, what was it? 39 point whatever percent, we're brother and sister and stuff like that because of my mother. Okay. That's where the relationship was, because we had different dads and stuff like that. And there's only 3 of us. I think there's 3, myself, yeah, and my 2 sisters, that we all have the same father. So it was kind of interesting. It put a lot of things in perspective. For me, it worked. For a lot of people, you don't want to know. Okay. You don't want to know. So I hope my sisters who watch this don't take any offense in anything like that. But hey, I am a very transparent type person. I didn't want to use names or anything like that, but I love my sisters. I just want them to know that. Okay. So, check this out. Did you know the USDA wants all states, to hand over food stamp data by the end of July? By July 30th, the U.S. Department of Agriculture has made an unprecedented demand to the states to share their personal information of tens of millions of federal food assistance recipients by July 30th, as a federal lawsuit seeks to postpone that data collection. Of course, because under the Trump administration, you take everything to court, right? USDA is requiring states turn over identifying information on all SNAP recipients and applicants since 2020, including but not limited to names, dates, and births, addresses, and social security number, as well as the dollar amount each recipient received over that time. States that do not comply with USDA data demand could lose all funding. Now, here's the deal. If you go into a bank and you want, I don't care if it's a small little signature loan, all that information, you have to give all that information up anyway to get to the money. When you apply for food stamps or the SNAP program and stuff like that, welfare, you have to fill out the application and give them all your information. And then the states get the money and the states hand it out under the SNAP program. You get a credit card or EBT card or whatever they call it. And you can use that like cash and go buy food and stuff like that. But now they're taking it to court, saying, this is not right. Why isn't it right? Shouldn't the person giving the money know who is receiving the money? And by the way, since 2020, the rules were really slack, were really abused, and the number of people that went on assistance skyrocketed. Okay? Skyrocketed.
Yep.
Okay? I know that I read a thing that said under the Obama administration, people on assistance went from 29% of Americans to 43% of Americans were on some kind of government assistance. Okay. And I watched a video of these people who said, yeah, because I lived in North Carolina And he goes, some people came to the door and said, we'd like to talk to you about food assistance. Huh? The guy said, well, I work, my wife works, we make this much money. Oh, you're entitled to this much money, when they really weren't. And the government took all that money back. So what they're doing now is they're finding out who is actually authorized to have it and who are the people who are abusing the system, whose name is on the assistance. Are they still alive? Because a lot of people have died, especially like in Social Security world, because the two government agencies don't talk and their computer systems don't talk together. Okay, so Social Security says you're dead, but the Treasury's still sending out money.
Yeah.
Okay, same thing with food stamps. So get ready. If you are on one of these assistance programs, they will be turning all that over, or your state will not receive funding. Kind of like Harvard. Okay, you can do all this DEI, woke, hatred, and all this other stuff to people, and guess what? You just lost, $2 billion in research funding from the federal government. So,
did you by chance see the one that was on YouTube yesterday? Somebody reported her because she's just bought a brand new BMW. And now she's losing half her food stamps and half of her money because she's only got a part-time job.
Yeah.
So she's on there complaining that, am I not allowed to have a nice car to get me to and from work and still qualify for my food stamps?
Yeah, you could get a Hyundai.
Yeah. Oh, no, she's got a brand new BMW. And I thought, well, if you've got a brand new BMW, you don't bloody need food stamps.
Yeah. Now, I will tell you right now that I got contacted by the state of Oklahoma because in January I'll be turning 65, and it is mandatory for me to ensure that my Part A and Part B of Medicare is registered. Now the social, I am collecting Social Security, and Social Security automatically enrolls you in Part A and Part B, and it's $185 or $187 per month that they'll be taking out of my Social Security to pay for my Part A and Part B. Well, the other part of it is they said, hey, and then for your prescription, we recommend you take Part D for medications. I said, well, wait a minute. I'm 100% taken care of by the VA. I get my medications for free, although thank you taxpayers for paying for all that. And I get to see a doctor no matter I've got a cold, I got a stubbed toe, or whatever. I need a surgery or whatever. Then
you put snake in the grass.
I go through the VA. And so the guy starts looking it up and he goes, oh, well, you don't need it. He goes, well, what about your wife? I said, I have an insurance company, Humana, that I have my wife on, but that's paid through my Army retirement check. I pay for that. I don't use it. I only have it so she can have health care coverage, because if you remember under Obama, that little letter you have to turn in every year still to this day that says you have health care insurance when you do your taxes. You got to turn that in. So I pay for that so Terrie can be seen by the doctor. Now, Terrie don't like to go to the doctor, and I'm paying for it. But what I pay for it as an Army retiree is nothing compared to what people are paying for private insurance. Okay. Humana just so happens to be the contractor for all government retirees and people that work for the government, and you pay them for taking care of your medical needs and stuff like that. Now, there are sometimes larger copays and stuff like that, but I don't need it. So I don't need to really do anything except the Social Security, even though I'm never going to go to a private doctor that the VA is not paying for. I still got to pay the $187 into Medicaid because of my age at 65. So they'll get you coming and going. I get that. And then when I looked at that, and it's going to be going up in 26 to $10 more. I think it's going to 197 is what the guy told me. So each year it's going higher and higher. But the good news is if you're on Social Security, you can get a $4,000, what is that called? A rebate on your taxes or whatever it's called, where you can take $4,000, you can claim $4,000 instead of them no tax on Social Security under the big beautiful bill. You'll get instead of $1,800 or $1,900, you'll get $4,000 to take off your taxes at the end of the year. So
that's nice.
Yeah. Christy Bett says, I have Humana and the copays. I'm sorry, I just lost it.
Are a lot higher than they told me when I signed up.
Are a lot higher than what they told you. Yeah, it is. And it's going up and up and up and up and up. Bureaucracy. That's what it's paying for. All right. And I mean, these people are making, tens of millions and sometimes billions of dollars in profits, kind of like the homeowners, when you look at them and they're making $9 billion in profits, but yet they lowball you, like in North Carolina. They were lowballing the crap out of people on their homeowners insurance to build their house back and stuff like that. So, they need to get control over that stuff. The insurance part, the hospital part, they need to get a hold on these guys, because why are you paying this much for medication? Then you can go over to another country and you pay this much for the exact same thing, and the same company makes it. There you go, guys. Something to think about. Hey, and lastly, we got 27 people still in here. I'm glad you guys stuck around. Louisiana police chiefs charged in immigration visa fraud scheme. Federal prosecutors have indicted 5 people in Louisiana, including 3 current and former police chiefs, in an alleged scheme to file bogus police reports that enabled immigrants to apply for special visas in exchange for thousands of dollars. Okay.
Nice.
Paid to play. Okay. According to the 62-count indictment, the defendants falsified police reports which listed immigrants as victims of fabricated crimes so they could apply for a U visa. Okay. A U non-immigrant status, or U visa, allows people who have been the victims of crimes to obtain temporary legal status in the U.S. The visa is set aside for victims of certain crimes who have suffered mental or physical abuse and are hopeful to law enforcement or government officials in investigation or prosecution of criminal activity. So if you read farther down the line, these police chiefs know somebody and says, hey, we would like, these people to get a visa to stay in the United States. They would fabricate a crime and then these organizations would pay the police chief or people within the police force to create a case where these people were physically and mentally abused, and then the cases go cold.
Now,
they got caught. Okay? They got caught.
They got caught, but did the police get caught?
Well, the police chiefs that were involved and administrators in the police departments were caught. There's 6 of them.
Good.
So they got caught. I'm telling you something. If you're going to be a criminal,
don't wear a badge.
If one person knows you committed the crime other than yourself, yeah, sooner or later you're going to get caught. People talk. Things happen. You might piss off somebody. Okay? I tell a story.
I'm pissed off already.
I told a story before of a guy I worked for stole a $9,000 air conditioning system that was shipped accidentally. We ordered 8, and somehow 9 got on the truck, and it stayed in the warehouse. I worked for the government at the time. Stayed in the warehouse for like a year, and said nobody's getting it. He loaded it up. One of his employees that hated him because he was a real ass turned him in. By the time they got to his house, it was already installed in his house. And system with this big thing. And now these air conditioning systems from York were so big, they powered the air conditioning and heat for 2-story cabins on Lake of the Ozarks that the Army has as a recreational area. All right. And he got caught. Had 18 years with the government, and they let him go with no pension. Plus, he had to pay all that back, and they did something. I don't know. But the stress was too much. And I believe he had a heart attack and died. And he was a retired Missouri State police officer. And after he retired, he came work for the government. So, okay. If one person knows,
that's one too many.
Loose lips sink ships.
That's why you bury the bastards.
That's what someone told me a long time ago. 10 Commandments.
That's why Bloodmead used to kill all his people that went at guys.
Yeah. Hey, there's Butler Family Farms. Welcome in. So, guys, it's Monday. I got to go and pick up my medication. I have to go to the apartment home, and I found out on my brush hog, it was the shear pin that goes into the gearbox on top.
No, I'm sure somebody said that to you.
Well, hang on. After we talked, I said, well, let me go check. And I have this housing. It's a plastic housing that protects the U-joint that turns everything. And I unscrewed the cap. Well, actually, I pushed this cap off, and I could look inside, and I go, I put my finger in there, and half the bolt was there, and it's a shear pin. So I'm going to go buy me a shear pin. I'm going to drop the shear pin back in with the cotter pin, and then I found sitting on the brush hog itself the other part of the shear pin that's shaved off.
Buy 3.
Yeah. And the guy, the rancher next door to me, I talked to him, and he said, yeah. He goes, I break those every time I brush hog sometimes. He goes, make sure you have a pocket full of them.
Yeah.
And it's made to shear off when you do something stupid, like run over a large spool of wire, and the blades stop automatically. Well, the tractor wants to keep going. It shaves the pin off and breaks it. But it takes a lot to break that shit.
It does. It takes a lot. Now I watch a few Homestead. As you know, I like the Homestead people, but I seen them. That's why as soon as you said what you'd done,
Yeah.
I knew.
So anyway, hey, and last but not least, I still want to iterate the frustration I have with David at Come On inviting me to his birthday party. I would have gone out and got him a great present, but not now. David, you get nothing from me. Okay? I thought we were brothers.
I'll be sure to let him know on his live tonight.
I've broken bread with you in my own house. And you didn't think of me saying, hey, Big Mike, hey, text. We text all the time. Hey, come on over for my birthday. Crickets. So I hope somebody tells David. I'm not even going to call him. I'm not going to contact him. We give him the silent treatment. Okay?
I'll let him know tonight.
Yeah, anyway. Yeah, this is fun. Musgrave family, welcome in. Charlene Grady's here. I think I said your name earlier, but always good to see you.
I shall say, David, you're in the crapper.
Yeah. I'm going to make up a wanted poster. Yeah. Failure to connect. You're in violation of
especially after what you did with the pig
clause.
Especially after what you did for the pig pen.
I know. And I let him borrow my chains and my tie downs and my ratchet straps to take that Beverly Hillbilly metal building all the way back to Arkansas.
I know.
If you guys
still laugh at that.
Check that video out on MT Homestead. That was a good video. But anyway, guys, we want to thank you for coming in. We will. I don't know if Terry and I are going to go live Friday before we leave here, or we might just have a live out there at the campgrounds. We had decent signal out there, but for right now, we may not have a morning talk with Mike on Friday. I'm going to give Paul the day off so he can get some beauty sleep.
Hey, do you not think I get enough?
Well, no, you don't.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Hey, and Paul and I were talking about this earlier. I'm watching this thing on Netflix. It's called The Royals. And it's about a fictitious royal family in power over in England. They do bring up the Stuarts and they're clashing with the Stuarts that are doing nefarious things against the royal family. But if you like the royal family and you want to see, and they've taken each episode, they have taken drama from the royal family over the years and made episodes and stuff like that. Some of it is far-fetched. Some of it's, you go, wow, wait, man, that's a little close to home. But it's funny. It's entertaining. And it's on Netflix. So if you got a Netflix account, check out The Royals.
Did you notice they waited until after the Queen had passed before they started playing that?
I know. Well,
she refused to allow it.
It's been on for 4 seasons, and it's British. It's but it's 4 seasons. How long she's been passed?
3 years now.
Yeah, so it's been on for 4 seasons. But go over there and check that out. I enjoy it. I wish they would make more seasons, but I think they only have 4. And then I guess that was it. But anyway, guys, I want to thank you for coming in. Remember, be kind to one another. Help somebody in need. And always think of that. Guys, we love you. God bless you. We'll see you on the next video. Bye, guys. All right.
Stay safe.
Oh, another live with my favorite co-host because nobody wants to come up on panel.
I don't mind.
Good.
It's
I
fun.
enjoy your company, brother.
I enjoy yours.
Yeah.
Even when you do call me an ugly bastard.
There you go. All right, guys. See you later. I'm
Stay safe.
going to leave that as Paul's last words.